Welcome, everybody. I'm going to ask that everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So before we get this meeting started, our town manager, Denise Ducharme, would like to say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming out. I sense that because you're here, you understand the importance of community engagement in local governance. So I appreciate you being here and participating in the annual town meeting. If you've gotten your town report, if you look at the dedication, I'm going to read for Ron Moody. Ron is a lifelong Madison resident with a long list of public service to his hometown community, the state of Maine, and the United States. A graduate of Madison High School, he worked for Madison Paper until he enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps, and he served in Vietnam for 13 months. He joined the Maine State Police and served as a member of their tactical team, as well as firearms instructor at the Maine Criminal Justice Academy. After he retired from the state police, Ron worked for the Somerset County Sheriff's Office, retiring as chief deputy after 10 years. In 1995, Ron was responsible for developing the Veterans Memorial that stands beside the Madison Public Library on Pleasant Street. He has been a dedicated member of the Madison Select Board for many years and served as chairman of the Budget Advisory Board as well. Ron enjoys hunting, fishing, watching his grandkids playing sports, and he and his wife are looking forward to his retirement. His daughter Kim and son Ronald and stepdaughter Suzanne are happy he is finally making time for himself. His dry wit and wry humor, as well as his town leadership, will be greatly missed. Thank you for your service, Ron. Albert Venziano. Al is no stranger to the people of Madison. In addition to his longtime public service as a teacher and coach, he has been a member of the Madison Select Board for 2 decades. Al has always been a champion for the town of Madison and its youth, known as Mr. Madison at his alma mater, Thomas College, where he was inducted into their Athletic Hall of Fame in 2014. Coach V, as he is affectionately called by his former players, brought the Lady Bulldogs to 3 of their Class C state championship titles in softball, as well as 7 regional titles. He is also well respected and appreciated for his basketball coaching, having accumulated 418 wins, 4 regional championships, 4 league championships, several Coach of the Year awards, and inducted into the Maine Basketball Hall of Fame in 2023. Mr. V is looking forward to retirement from the Select Board and having his Monday and Wednesday evenings open for family stuff. His wife Debbie, stepdaughters Ashley and Brianna, and his grandchildren know and understand that Al is all about community and family. His leadership and guidance on the board and in town will be greatly missed by all. Thank you, Mr. V. Representative Jack Ducharme was not able to be here tonight, so he asked me to present the legislative sentiment. Be it known that we, the members of the Senate and House of Representatives, join in recognizing Albert A. Venziano of Madison on his retirement from the Town of Madison Board of Selectmen after over 40 years of distinguished service to the town, including 17 years as Recreation Director and more than 20 years as a member of the Board of Selectmen, where he served multiple terms as chair. His unwavering commitment to community service has had a lasting impact on generations of Madison residents. As Recreation Director, Mr. Venziano oversaw a thriving youth sports program with Madison supporting at least 4 teams, including football, basketball, baseball, and cheering teams at all age levels. He was also instrumental in the creation of the athletic fields on Preble Avenue, a project that continues to benefit the town's youth and recreational programs today. During his time as a selectman, Mr. Venziano provided steadfast leadership through periods of significant challenge, including navigating the economic aftermath of the closure of Madison paper industries. He remained a strong advocate for infrastructure improvements and economic revitalization efforts, helping to guide the town forward. We extend our congratulations and best wishes, and be it ordered that this official expression of sentiment be sent forthwith on behalf of the 132nd Legislature and the people of the state of Maine, and is signed by Mathia Daughtry, President of the Senate, Derek Grant, Secretary of the Senate, Ryan Fecto, Speaker of the House, Robert Kuhn, Clerk of the House, and it's sponsored by Representative Ducharme and Senator Farron. Congratulations, Mr. B.
To Kathy Estes, a resident in the town of Madison, in the county of Somerset, state of Maine. Greetings. In the name of the state of Maine, you are hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of Madison, in said county and state, qualified by law to vote in town affairs, to meet at the Main Street Middle School Auditorium in said town on Monday, the 9th day of June, 2025 AD, at 7 o'clock in the evening. Then and there to act upon Article 1 and Articles 3 through 42 as set out below to wit, and to notify and warn said inhabitants to meet at the Old Point School election room in said town on Tuesday, the 10th day of June, 2025, at 8 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock in the evening. Article 1, to choose a moderator to preside at said meeting.
I'd like to nominate Dennis Cully.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any further nominations? Hearing none, those of you who wish to vote for our moderator, please do so now. Dennis? Will you please step forward? So I'm going to have you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Dennis Cully,
Do swear
do swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so long as I shall
so long as I shall
continue a citizen thereof.
continue a citizen thereof.
I state your name.
I, Dennis Cully,
Do swear
do swear
that I will faithfully discharge,
that I will faithfully discharge,
to the best of my abilities,
to the best of my abilities,
the duties incumbent upon me
the duties incumbent upon me
as a moderator
as a moderator
of this meeting
of this meeting
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and the laws of the state.
and laws of the state.
Lisa, can I just get your signature here? Thank you.
Well, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me out back? Can those that? Yeah, okay. My name is Dennis Cully. I hail from Mercer, across the river. I moderate a number of meetings in the area. I'm a recently retired attorney. I know Ernie Hilton's from work, who has been your moderator for some time. Ernie asked me to fill in. I'm very happy to be here. I just want to make a couple of preliminary remarks and then we'll get going. One is, I used, as I believe Attorney Hilton does, I used the main moderator's manual, most recent edition. I'll ask for a motion on that in a moment. It's a very simple set of rules. The purpose of it is to move us forward, not to tangle us up in any procedural. Rules should be to aid us, not to inhibit us or confuse us. Meetings, in my experience, meetings are like sharks. If they don't move forward, they drown. And forward movement is what we want. We don't want to rush, but we want movement. We want production. And we get that from learning from each other. And to learn from each other, we have to listen to each other. So to that end, I ask that people raise their hand to be recognized to speak, that they speak one at a time, and that we honor the speaker. When the speaker has the floor, they have the floor. And we should honor them with our attention, or at least our silence, and not be visiting with a neighbor, which we shouldn't do. I ask that you direct questions or comments to the moderator. And this is done not because it's lonely up here. It's done to break any tension that can arise between those who may have different points of view on an article. As moderator and as a non-citizen of this town, I have no opinion on any article. My only goal here is to assist you in moving forward. That's it. That's it. One other thing, I will seek positive motions only. And this is done not because I'm in favor of the warrant or anything like that, but because I want votes where yes means yes and no means no. So people know what they're voting on. The other thing is, motions are in order as long as they are motions in harmony with the article. Procedural motions are always in order. Substantive motions are rarely in order. What is the difference? A substantive motion would be if there was an article to build a police station and someone offered an amendment to build a firehouse instead. That would be a substantive motion. A procedural motion would be money for streetlights, to raise and appropriate from taxes, to perhaps seek another source of funding might be a procedural motion. Procedural motions in order. Two motions I'll cover, which are quite common in town meetings. One is the motion to amend, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Motion to amend, we'll take a motion and a second, and is debatable. And should the motion succeed, then there will be a debate on the amendment only, whether the article should be amended. If that passes, if that's a majority vote, then the article as amended will be voted on. Another motion, which I sometimes see, I'm often sad to see it, but it's sometimes necessary, is a motion to limit debate. And that is a motion basically to end the debate. And as you might expect, that motion is not debatable. It needs a second, and it takes a 2/3 majority. And if that motion passes, all debate ends, and we would proceed directly to a vote. Okay. Article 3, to see if the town will vote to pay the directors of the Department of Electric Works $10,200 for the ensuing year. Said sum to be paid from the funds of the department. And there is a select board recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved as read.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, information. Article 3. Article 3. Not seeing any, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 3 as read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 4, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $11,200 to pay its select board. Advisory board recommends. Do we have a motion?
So move recommended amount.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions, information, Article 4. Article 4. Not seeing any, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 4 as read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 5, to see if the town votes to authorize the select board to use up to $25,000 from undesignated revenue in the event of overdrafts, unforeseen events, or emergencies. Any use of this contingency arrangement must be voted on at a select board meeting, and the expenditures made will be listed in the subsequent town report. Total transfer of undesignated revenue shall not exceed $25,000 within the fiscal year. Transfer of undesignated revenues in excess of $25,000 must be authorized by a town meeting. There is a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So move recommended amount.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Article 5, questions, information. Article 5, this is undesignated revenue. Article 5. Not seeing any. Those in favor, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 6, to see what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the general government account in the general fund. And there are some figures here, I'll read them. Administration, $672,619.75. Planning board, $6,610. Code enforcement, facilities maintenance, $98,271.51. Boards and committees, $20,471. Elections, $9,000. Assessing, $50,000. Total expenses, $856,972,000. And there is a note approved revenue from TIF, $30,000. So total raised by taxation, $826,972.26. Do we have a motion?
So move recommended amount.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, information. Article 6. Article 6. Not seeing any? Oh, is that a hand back there? No? Okay. Article 6. Those in favor, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 7. To see what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for public safety in the general fund. Ambulance, $108,675. Police, $567,187.20. School resource officer, $40,000. Fire department, $185,753.28. Animal control, $6,155. Total expenses, $907,770.48. There's a note, $20,000 approved revenue from TIF. Total raised from taxation, $887,770.48. We have a board and advisory recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So move the recommended amount. Second.
Do we have a second? Oh, we have a second. Questions, information, Article 7. Yes, sir.
Police, is that the extra we're paying for our two sheriffs, or is that just the general county van?
No, that's not for the count, that's not our county payment, that's our extra that we pay for.
And how much would we save if we didn't have that? How much would we end up paying just to the county?
I would say you'd say the $567,187,020.
Okay, does anybody else see a difference between us, Norwich Walk, Anson, Solon? I've lived in this town my whole life, third generation. I see more cops in these towns that don't pay it than we do here, paying this huge amount of money. What are we really getting from it?
Anybody else? Article 7. Article 7. Questions, information, commentary. Article 7. Last call. I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 7 as read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 8, to see what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the public utilities account in the general fund. That would be streetlights, $60,000, hydrants, fire protection, $245,000, stormwater, $75,000, waste disposal, $270,000. Total expenses, $650,000, approved revenue from TIF, $30,000, the total raised by taxation, $620,000. Select Board and the Advisory Board recommend $620,000. Do we have a motion?
So move the recommended amount.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, questions, information, Article 8. Article 8. Not seeing any? Those in favor of Article 8 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, is a positive vote. Article 9, to see what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the Public Works account in the general fund. Highway, $759,465.42. Winter roads, $60,125. Summer roads, $82,225. Total public works, $901,815.42. Approved from TIF, $35,000. Total raised from taxation, $866,815.42. The Select Board and the Advisory Board recommend $866,815.42. Do we have a motion?
So move the recommended amount.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Questions, information, Article 9. Article 9. Not seeing any? I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 9 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, is a positive vote. Article 10, to see what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the recreation account in the general fund. Select Board recommends $154,567.08. Advisory Board recommends $154,567.08. Do we have a motion?
So we recommend amount.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, that second recommended amount. Discussion, information, commentary, Article 10. Article 10. Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain why the increase in Parks and Rec from last year?
Can someone?
Give me a second to get the right sheet.
And what was last year's budget too?
Sure. Total recreation budget last year was $131,610. The increase is due primarily to, it's due to salary and it's due to the ICMA contributions, which were not included in the budget last year. So the recreation director is participating in the town retirement, and the town is matching. That was not included in the budget last year, that the recreation committee provided to us. And so we needed to make sure that it was included this year. And that accounts for the majority of that increase.
Anybody else? Article 10. Questions, information. Article 10. Not seeing any other, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 10 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 11, to see what sum the town votes to raise and appropriate for the cemeteries in the general fund. Select Board recommends $52,575. Advisory Board recommends $52,575. Do we have a motion?
So move the recommended amount.
We have a second.
Second.
Second. Questions, information. Article 11. Article 11, cemeteries. Not seeing any? I'm going to move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 11 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 12. to see what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the Madison Public Library in the general fund. Select Board recommends $154,567. Advisory Board recommends $154,567. Do we have a motion?
So moved as amended now.
Second.
Second over here.
Yep.
Questions, information, Article 12. Article 12, Public Library. Not seeing any? Move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 12 as read, please raise your hand. Those opposed? It is a positive vote. Article 13. Article 13, to see what sum the town vote to raise and appropriate for community services in the general fund. General assistance, $31,125. Community programs, community recycling, $1,000. Lake Association, $15,000. American Legion, $750. People Who Care, food coverage, $16,500. Recycling, household hazardous waste, $1,000. Kennebec Behavioral Health, $500. Lakewood Theater, $5,000. St. Sebastian Cemetery, $1,000. Madison Business Alliance, $7,500. The Lifeline Foundation, $1,200. Maine Public Radio and TV, $100. VFW, $750. Total community programs, $50,300. Do we have a motion?
We gotta go to the
We got more.
Oh, it keeps going. Oh,
The
all right.
service organization.
Oh, service organization. Service organizations. Anson Madison Senior Citizens, $4,500. Spectrum Generations, $5,000. Somerset Humane Society, $12,500. Hospice Volunteers of Somerset County, $3,000. Literacy Volunteers, $1,500.
No, one.
Sorry, $150, literacy volunteers. Service organizations, $25,150. Grand total, community services, $106,575. Approved revenue from TIF, $5,000. Select Board recommends $101,575. Advisory Board recommends $101,575. Do we have a motion?
So move the recommended
Is that a second over there?
Second.
Second. Questions, information, Article 13, yes ma'am.
Can you explain the Lake Association for $15,000, we used to give $5,000 in the past, and the Madison Business Alliance, we give $7,500, and we used to give $800 in the past?
I think, Billy's in, Mark, want to answer that?
Even though Mark Doty, I'm a volunteer with the Lake Association. The reason it's $15,000 versus $5,000 from several years ago is that we are putting paid staff out on the East Madison boat launch to prevent the spread of invasive aquatic species into Lake Westvalenza, which would pretty well ruin it for us. We also work to keep phosphorus to reasonable levels entering the lake. We work on keeping the safety buoys, the marker buoys, out. Our nonprofit mission is to protect the lake and the watershed, and we take that very seriously. So last year we had the paid staff out of the East Madison boat launch for 1,000 hours working to keep invasive aquatic species out. This year we're trying to up that total more.
Thank you.
Did you have another question, ma'am, about another issue?
The Madison Business Alliance. So, last year it was $7,500.
Yes.
It's a flat amount for this year, $7,500. The previous 2 years before that, it was $3,000 each year. They came to the town asking for help to find somebody that could be an administrative assistant to them to help with their recruiting and with their promotions that they do for businesses in town.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Yes, ma'am.
What was the amount for the total of this? You don't have the previous year on here like usual?
We never had the previous year.
What was last year's total?
For,
This whole section, Article 13.
Last year, it was $104,950, and this year it's $106,575.
Okay, thank you.
About $1,500 more.
Any other questions, information, Article 13? Article 13. Not seeing any. Those in favor of Article 13 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed? It is a positive vote. Article 14, to see what sum the town votes to raise and appropriate for town-owned property in the general fund. Select Board recommends $42,245. Advisory Board recommends $42,245. Do we have a motion?
So move the recommended amount.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions, information, Article 14, town-owned property. Town-owned property. Any questions? Not seeing any? Those in favor of Article 14 is read, and please raise your hands. Those opposed? It's a positive motion. Article 15, to see what sum the town votes to raise and appropriate for highway equipment purchases. Purchase price of proposed equipment is $203,950. $41,000 of fiscal year 2025 funds will be used as a down payment on the equipment. Fiscal year 2026 would be $162,950. Select Board recommends $162,950. Advisory Board recommends $162,950. Do we have a motion?
So move the recommended amount.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Questions, information, Article 15. Yes, sir.
What's the equipment?
The equipment is a sidewalk machine slash mowing machine for rolling roadsides in the summertime. The previous 2 years, we've had trouble finding anybody to mow the roadsides, and this piece of equipment will fit the bill.
Anything else? Article 15, questions, information, highway equipment. Anything else? Not seeing any. Those in favor of Article 15 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 16, to see what sum the town votes to raise and appropriate for culverts. Select Board recommends $7,500. Advisory Board recommends $7,500. Do we have a motion?
So move the recommended amount.
Second.
Questions, information, Article 16, culverts. Not seeing any, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 16 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 17, to see what sum the town votes to raise and appropriate for road surface projects. Select Board recommends $185,628. Advisory Board recommends $185,628. Do we have a motion?
So move the recommended amount.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions, information, Article 17. Article 17. Not seeing any, I'll proceed to a vote. Those in favor of Article 17, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 18, to see what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for sidewalk maintenance. Select Board recommends $70,000. Advisory Board recommends $70,000. Do we have a motion?
So move the recommended amount.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Questions, information, Article 18, sidewalk maintenance. Sidewalk maintenance. Not seeing any, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 18 as read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 19, to see what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for fire department SCBA equipment purchases. Select Board recommends $25,000. Advisory Board recommends $25,000. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Approve at the recommended amount? Is that motion?
Second.
Oh, I'm asking the person who made the motion.
Second. No, he asked you if it's, read the recommended amount.
Yes.
25,000?
Do you move the recommended amount?
Yes.
Okay, and the second? Yes. Questions, information, Article 19. Article 19. Not seeing any. Those in favor of Article 19 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 20, to see what sum the town votes to raise and appropriate for fire department vehicle purchase. Select Board recommends $100,000. Advisory Board recommends $100,000. Do we have a motion?
So move the recommended amount.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions, information, fire department vehicle purchase. Any questions, information, comment?
What's the purchase?
Ryan could probably answer, but I know it's for a fire truck. to put the
We have
money
a
away.
truck, every 30 years we try to replace a fire truck. We have one due right now, and we're raising money. It's gonna cost probably $500,000 to replace it. So every year we try to put money away, so we order it a year from now. It's gonna take 2 years to build, so every year we'll have the money in 3 or 4 years to pay for it when we get it.
Anything else? Article 20, fire department vehicle, Article 20. Questions, information, anything else? No? Those in favor of Article 20 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 21, to see what sum the town votes to raise and appropriate for repairs and maintenance of municipal building. Select Board recommends $75,000. Advisory Board recommends $75,000. Do we have a motion?
So move the recommended amount.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Questions, information, Article 21. Article 21. Not seeing any, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 21 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 22, to see what sum the town votes to raise and appropriate for repairs and maintenance of the Madison Public Library. Select Board recommends $25,000, Advisory Board recommends $25,000. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Recommended amount.
Do we have a second? Second. Questions, information, Article 22. Article 22. Library repairs. Not seeing any, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 22 is read, please raise your hand. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 23, to see what sum the town votes to raise and appropriate for repairs and maintenance of Old Point Avenue building. Select Board recommends $5,000. Advisory Board recommends $5,000. Do we have a motion?
So move the recommended amount.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions, information, Article 23. Article 23. Not seeing any, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 23 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 24, to see what sum the town votes to raise and appropriate for repairs and maintenance of cemeteries. Select Board recommends $42,000. Advisory Board recommends $42,000. Do we have a motion?
So move the recommended amount.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions, information, Article 24, cemetery repairs. Yes, ma'am.
What repairs and what cemeteries will be addressed to?
This will be all cemeteries, the Forest Hill cemeteries and the 10 small cemeteries. This past year, we did $25,000 of repairs in the Kincaid Road Cemetery, and we are obligated by law to maintain veteran graves, so this is going to be part of that spending.
Anything else, Article 24?
Just so everybody understands, we have Forest Hill Cemetery, we have 10 other cemeteries that we take care of. So just so everybody understands how many there are, and some of them are accessed by four-wheelers, which we have to take care of.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to add that the money that was spent last year on the cemetery, they did a very good job on the work that they did all year long. It looks fantastic. and I can just imagine what this money's gonna do to them, so.
Thank you.
Anything else? Article 24. Article 24. Not seeing anything else, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 24 as read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 25, to see if the town votes to authorize the select board to carry forward $100,000 in previously designated unspent capital funds for the purchase of fire equipment vehicles. Select board recommends yes. Advisory board recommends yes. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions, information, Article 25 at 100,000 fire equipment. Article 25. Not seeing any? Oh, wait, is that?
No.
Oh, okay. I'll proceed to a vote. Those in favor of Article 25 as read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article, I believe it's Article 26, it says 25 again. but-
Oh, yes, it should be 26. I apologize.
Okay, so
Uh-oh.
I have to. Okay. Article 26, to see if the town votes to use $500,000 from undesignated fund balance to offset taxes. Select board recommends yes. Advisory board recommends yes. Do we have a motion?
So we'll recommend them all?
Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions, information? Article 25. Yes, sir.
What's in this fund?
Someone's asking what's in the fund.
As of the end of fiscal '24, our undesignated fund balance is approximately $1.5 million.
Questions, information, Article 26. 26. Not seeing any, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of the articles read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 27, to see if the town vote to raise and appropriate, vote to allocate, see if the town will vote to allocate the balance of the snowmobile excise tax refund to the Abenaki Snow Riders Snowmobile Club. Select board recommends. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions, information, snowmobile fund, excise tax. Anybody? Article 27? Not seeing any? I'll move to.
It's the second 26.
Yep, somehow, at least in the copy I had, there were two Article 25s. And then, so now, if I'm correct, are we on 27 now?
27.
Yeah, 27. Anything else? Article 27. Questions, information?
26.
Yeah, we'll have to vote 26 first.
Are you looking at the town report, or are you looking at the warrant articles that were printed? Okay, so there were two Article 25s, and we had a misprint. So 26, the 500,000 of undesignated fund balance became Article 26, and the snowmobile club revenue became Article 27, and going forward, every article is going to be one more than what's printed.
Okay, Article 27. Questions, information, Article 27, snowmobile club funding. Questions, information. Not seeing any, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 27 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a vote. Article 28, to see if the town will vote to authorize the tax collector to accept prepayment of taxes for the year 2025, 2026, not yet due or assessed. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Second. Questions, information, Article 28. Not seeing any, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 28 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 29, to see if the town will vote the date of September 15, 2025, or 30 days after commitment, whichever is later, as the date when the first one-half of taxes assessed for the current year shall become due and payable, and the date of March 15, 2026, when the second one-half of taxes assessed for the current year shall become due and payable, with taxes unpaid after said date to bear to bear interest at the rate of 8% per annum from said dates. Select Board recommends. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions, information, Article 29. Article 29. Not seeing any, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 29 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 30, see if the town vote to authorize the tax collector to enter into a standard agreement with residential taxpayers establishing a tax club payment plan for property taxes, whereby, 1, the taxpayer agrees to pay specified monthly payments to the town based on his/her estimated and actual tax obligation for the current year property taxes. 2, the town agrees not to charge the interest on timely payments made pursuant to the tax club agreement. 3, the town authorizes the collector to accept tax club payments for current taxes which may be due prior to the commitment of those taxes. 4, the agreement is automatically terminated if the scheduled payment is late and the taxpayer then becomes subject to the same due dates and interest rates, same interest dates and rates as other taxpayers who are not participating in a tax club. 5, only taxpayers who do not have any outstanding tax obligations for prior tax years are eligible to participate in the tax club program. And 6, taxpayers wishing to participate in the tax club for a particular property tax year shall enter an agreement with the town by a publicly advertised deadline determined by the tax collector. Select Board recommends. Any motions?
So.
Second? Seconded. Questions, information, Article 30, tax club. Article 30.
Wouldn't it make more sense to have a late fee? I'm sorry.
Yep, go ahead.
Wouldn't it make more sense to have a late fee for those who are late than you just pull them out and then they, just seems like a, I don't know.
Question
It'd
from
be
the
more
board.
beneficial to charge a late fee, to keep them in and to just pull them right out.
Because it's a monthly payment process, once they miss a payment, they are no longer eligible to participate, because the full tax amount is divided over the 10 months. So once they miss the first payment that they miss, they're basically late and they're no longer eligible. It's an accounting nightmare to do the late payment fee, because then at that point, once they're late, they're going to start accruing interest.
Any other questions, information, Article 30. Article 30, tax club. Article 30. Not seeing any, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 30 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 31, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to advertise and sell town-owned personal property at public sale. Select board recommends. Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? Second. Questions, information, Article 31. Personal property sale, Article 31. Yes, sir.
What is proposed to sale there?
I didn't hear the question.
We have nothing at this time. We just put it in case we do get some at a future date during the year.
Anything else, Article 31? Article 31. Not seeing any, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 31 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 32. To see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to dispose of town-owned real property not tax acquired in any manner that the selectmen deem to be in the best interest of the town. Select board recommends. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions, information, Article 32.
So just
Yes.
hypothetically speaking, if the town wanted to say, unacquire Old Point Avenue School, the select board could do this without having to go to town meeting.
I don't have that answer.
But hypothetically,
You could-
according to this, you could.
I believe you could put it up for sale, yes,
Okay.
if you wanted to, yes.
I'm going to highly encourage that people in the audience vote no.
Any other questions, information, Article 32? Anybody, did everybody hear that exchange? Anybody need more information? Oh,
According to this, the town could, for instance, take Old Point Avenue School, the select board, and put it up for sale without having to go to town meeting.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Anything else? Article 32, questions, information,
Man.
commentary, go ahead.
This is a standard article that's in the warrant every year. And the town has no intention of selling any town-owned property. It's a matter of if we possibly receive real estate from an estate or something like that, and we have an offer that somebody wants to buy it, it frees the select board to make that legitimate decision. I understand what Ms. Weston is saying, that in the event that there were existing town-owned properties that were considered to be put on the market, they would be brought before the town at a select board meeting, and that would be publicized so that there would in fact be an opportunity for the public to have a say in it. It would not be done behind closed doors. It would be a transparent operation. This is a standard article every year.
Any other questions, information? Yes, sir.
Just so we don't forget, last property was sold for $1. Hope we didn't forget that.
Anybody else? Questions, information, commentary? Article 32. Not seeing any hands, going to move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 32 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 33, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to dispose of tax-acquired property as they deem in the best interest in the town, except they shall first use the sale process in 36 Maine Revised Statutes annotated section 943-C if they choose to sell the property to anyone other than the former owner. For sales to someone other than the former owner, excess sales proceeds as defined in 36 Maine Revised Statutes annotated section 943C shall be returned to the former owner. Select board recommends. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Second. Questions, information, Article 33, tax acquired property. Article 33. Not seeing any, we'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 33 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is positive vote. Article 34, to see if the town votes to authorize the select board to approve all wages and salaries for the coming year except for those already provided for. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Second. Questions, information, Article 34, salaries. Article 34. Not seeing any. Those in favor of Article 34 is read, please raise your hand. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 35, to see if the town will vote to authorize the town manager under the direction of the select board to apply for grant monies and to expend monies received for the stated grant purposes. Select board recommends. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Second. Second. Questions, information, Article 35. Article 35, grants. Questions, information, not seeing any hands. Those in favor of Article 35 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 36, to see if the town, in accordance with 36 Maine Revised Statute, Section 506-A, will vote to fix the rate of 4% interest to be paid on overpaid or abated taxes. Do we have a motion?
Oh,
Do we have a second?
second.
Questions, information? Article 36. Article 36. Not seeing any hands. Those in favor of Article 36 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is positive vote. Article 37, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to accept any money or property, real or personal, from any donor and such money or property shall be utilized as specified by the donor. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Questions, information, Article 37. Article 37. Not seeing any? I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 37 as read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 38. To see, shall an ordinance entitled Animals, Chapter 148, be amended? Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? Questions, information, ordinance entitled Animals. Any questions, information, commentary?
Oh, right.
There we go.
Just want to know what's amended.
Who has a question on what is amended? Does someone here know?
Yes, so the amendment is to remove the word "is" and replace it with "that person" or "the dog owner."
Article 38. That answer your question, ma'am? Okay, 38. Any other questions,
The one's
information?
over there in the corner.
Oh, there, someone in the corner?
It's the same one.
Same?
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Article 38. Not seeing any. Those in favor of Article 38 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 39. Shall an ordinance entitled Site Review, Section 28 Signs, Chapter 484, be amended? Select Board recommends. Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? Second. Questions, information, Article 39, amending an ordinance. There you go.
What's the change? What's the amendment?
Can someone here answer that?
Yeah. Hang on.
Sure.
This is for the signs, so the planning board went through and made some corrections to the language of the signs, and we've got Jeff Drew or Mary Tomlinson here that may be able to speak more specifically to that, but this particular amendment is for electronic signs.
Does that answer? Would you like more background?
That answers my question.
Okay. Anybody else? Article 39. 39, amending that ordinance. Not seeing any hands, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 39 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 40, shall an ordinance entitled Animal Control, Chapter 514, be amended? Select Board recommends. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Questions, information, article, yes.
Okay. The change for this one is to remove Madison Police Department and replace it with Somerset County Sheriff's Office.
Anybody else? Questions, commentary, information, Article 40. Yes, sir. No. Okay. Anybody else? Article 40? Not seeing anything, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 40 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed? It is a positive vote. Article 41, shall an ordinance entitled Tax Acquired Property Disposal of, Chapter 720, be amended? Select Board recommends. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Questions, information, amending the ordinance, number 42. Jeff?
So there was a case in the United States Supreme Court that called Tyler versus Hennepin County, and the property owner sued the county for taking their property and keeping the excess proceeds after the sale. So state law has worked with the U.S. Supreme Court decision to change the way that municipalities are allowed to sell tax-acquired property. There are certain regulations that certain things that we have to do to move through the process, and in doing so, anything that is over and above the delinquent taxes or fees or insurance or property disposal costs that the town collects in the sale has to be returned to the owner of the forfeited property. That being said, if we are unable to find that owner, the law stipulates that that amount of money is not to be kept by the town, but it must be turned over to the state treasurer's office as unclaimed property. So this is to bring the local ordinance in line with state law and United States court case.
Okay, any other questions, background, helpful information, commentary? Article 41.
Over in the back.
Back there. Yes, sir.
Who will be doing the negotiations with the realtor on the sale? Would that be you? So if we acquire the property, now it's gonna go on the market, and say somebody puts an offer in. Like, who's gonna accept or deny the offer?
I would say that would be the select board doing. And I would say, remember, a lot of times when you go into these properties, there is a lot of cleanup. I mean, we've had a number of properties that we've had to go in and clean up, and it is quite expensive to get that done. So what we had done in the past is put this money into a fund, and if we had a house come up that we needed to clean up, we would use that money to do that, but they're not allowing that anymore.
Thank you.
Yep. Anything else? Article 41. Article 41. Questions, information? Not seeing any? We're going to move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 41 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is positive vote. Article 42, shall an ordinance entitled Treasurer's Disbursement Warrants, Chapter 742 be amended. Select Board recommends. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And a second there. Questions, information, Article 42. Yes, ma'am.
The changes in this article, in the warrant article for this ordinance, are changing Board of Selectmen to Select Board, so that's the wording, and one or more designated municipal officers instead of designated member. And we also added some language that would allow the treasurer to disperse funds to the county for real estate property transactions in the event that the transactions needed to be recorded before there was a select board meeting to make those funds available. So they still require at least one select board member to sign. That hasn't changed. We just added a payment type to that group.
Any other information, questions, commentary? Article 42. Article 42. Not seeing any, I'll move to a vote. Those in favor of Article 42 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. Article 43,
Yes.
pending the outcome of a public hearing on May 15, 2025.
No, that's old.
That's all. Okay.
That, the public hearing has been happening.
Okay, so that, all right. Last article. Shall an ordinance entitled Site Review, Chapter 484 be amended. Select Board recommends. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Questions, information, Article 43. Article 43. Questions, information, commentary? Not seeing any. Those in favor of Article 43 is read, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote.
Go back to two. Yeah, it's adjourning to the vote. Continue.
I'm seeking a motion to continue the meeting to for municipal elections, is it? Motion, yeah, that's, anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn until June 10th, or we continue the meeting to June 10th.
Second. Motion to continue, been seconded. Questions, information? Yes, sir.
I have two general questions. The school budget, was the only vote on that amount of money at the school board meeting? There's no other vote with the whole, like, the general town meeting?
Yes, it's not a school board meeting, it's a budget meeting ballot, budget meeting vote that everybody's invited to go to.
The other question is,
It is on the ballot tomorrow.
oh, it is on the ballot.
Yes. And there's also, the other question on that is whether you want to continue having the ballot question there in the future.
The other question is the amount of taxpayers we have in Madison compared to what we have here tonight. Is this amount even enough for a legal meeting, a legal vote?
Yes, there's no quorum necessary for a town meeting,
And everybody
the annual
knows,
town meeting.
everybody knows the school budget is what? The biggest portion of our tax base. And it's gone up a lot. And I was at that meeting, and there weren't many people there, maybe 14, 15 people. So we better start thinking about these things. I see the same people here all the time.
Can we move the question, please?
You're all older people.
Hold on. Here's the floor at the moment.
We're not talking about,
I
we're
know.
not talking on an article.
I know, and that's something I can rule on. Do you have something to say about this article to continue until tomorrow?
No.
Okay, okay. And still want a motion?
No, if we're gonna,
Anything else on, the motion on the floor to continue this meeting to tomorrow? Those in favor, please raise your hands. Those opposed, it is a positive vote. It was a pleasure to meet you, Madison.
thank you.